Many readers of the Bible assume the terms Hebrew, Israelite, and Jew are interchangeable labels for the same group of people. However, the timeline of the text tells a different story. The word Hebrew first appears in Genesis 14. 18 chapters pass before Israel is born. You will scan the rest of the Torah without finding the word Jew. It finally appears in Kings, a gap of 1,000 years in the biblical narrative. Confusing these three labels flattens the historical narrative. To understand the progression of the Bible, you have to recognize that these words belong to three distinct chapters of a single story. The oldest identity is Hebrew. In the original language, it is Ivri, derived from the root avar, which literally means to cross over or to traverse. Abraham earned this title through a physical act. When he left Mesopotamia for the land of Canaan, he crossed the Euphrates River. From that moment, he was known to the locals as the Ivri, the one from the other side. Hebrew became the label used whenever the people interacted with the outside world. In the Egyptian court, Potiphar's wife identifies Joseph as a Hebrew. When Moses speaks to Pharaoh, he identifies God as the God of the Hebrews. It was an ethnic business card for those looking in from the outside. Because it was a broad ethnic marker, Hebrew applied to all descendants of the line of Eber. This included many families and tribes who had no part in the specific promises made to Abraham's household. This ethnic label identified blood and origin, but it could not distinguish the specific family of the promise from the rest of the world's crossers. To define a closer relationship with God, a name based on a spiritual encounter was required. That encounter happened at the Jabbok Brook. Jacob was alone in the dark, paralyzed by the fear that his brother Esau was approaching with 400 men to kill him. Genesis 32 describes a physical, violent wrestling match between Jacob and a supernatural being. It was a hand-to-hand struggle lasting until the breaking of day. The being touched the socket of Jacob's hip, dislocating it instantly. Despite the injury and the physical exhaustion, Jacob refused to let go, demanding a blessing before the sun rose. The being gave him a new name, Yisrael, meaning the one who struggles with God. This wasn't just a nickname. It marked a change in Jacob's nature, from a deceiver to a man transformed by a divine encounter. Israelite is therefore a covenant identity. It belongs to the 12 tribes who share the spiritual transformation of the man who wrestled with God and emerged with a new name. The 12 tribes reached their peak of unity under King Solomon. However, his later years were defined by idolatry and the worship of foreign gods. As a result, the United Kingdom would be torn away from his descendants. The kingdom fractured into two nations. 10 tribes broke away to form the northern kingdom of Israel, while only the tribes of Judah and Benjamin remained in the south, forming the kingdom of Judah. In 722 BC, the Assyrian Empire invaded the north. They captured the 10 tribes and scattered them across their empire, where they eventually mixed with other peoples and disappeared from the historical record. A century later, the Babylonians destroyed the southern kingdom of Judah. They burned the temple and deported survivors to Babylon, leaving the land in ruins. When the exiles finally returned to Jerusalem decades later, only the descendants of the southern kingdom remained. Because they came from Judah, they were called Jews, Yahudim in the original Hebrew. The word Jew is the political identity of the survivor. It is the name used for the remnant of the people who remained after the rest of the tribes were lost to history. This history provides the context needed to understand Revelation chapter 7. When John sees the sealed people of the end times, he does not use the term Jews. He explicitly lists 12,000 from each of the original 12 tribes of Israel. John's inclusion of the lost northern tribes suggests that while history lost track of them, God did not. The vision points toward a restoration of the entire family rather than just the small remnant that survived the exiles. All three historical identities, the ethnic, the spiritual, and the political, converge in a single person, Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus holds the lineage of a Hebrew through Abraham, the covenant of an Israelite through Jacob, and the tribal right of a Jew through the line of Judah. He is the heir to every chapter of the story. In the 1st century, a stone wall in the temple physically separated foreigners from the sanctuary. Through his death, Christ destroyed this barrier, creating a new humanity where any person, regardless of bloodline, can enter the covenant. This ancient history mirrors the spiritual journey of faith today. You embody the Hebrew when you make the choice to cross over from your past and follow the voice of God into the unknown. You become the Israelite in your own dark nights of struggle when you refuse to let go of God through the pain until you are transformed and given a new name. And you walk as the Jew when you remain standing after the storms of life. You carry the resilience of the survivor who holds on to their identity even when everything else collapses. Hebrew, Israelite, and Jew are the coordinates of a believer's spiritual progression. These words are the ongoing story of a life lived with God.
If you enjoyed watching this video, do like the video and please subscribe to Jesus Tell Tales channel for more such videos in the future.